The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Toku Podcastu. I'm not going to say that right the entire year.
No.
That's not going to happen. So today we have a very interesting show for you today because, well, for one, this is the newest Sentai that is over, because then Kaiju's still not over unless it gets canceled. By the time this comes out, which would be really sad. So this is a very interesting one because not only are we doing Sentai, we're doing a Sentai that's basically topical.
Yeah.
And it is Mashin Sentai Kiramager. Is it with a G? Is it with G or Gur?
It's Kiramager.
Okay. Because I keep hearing people say Kiramager, and I'm just like, that sounds dumb.
Well, you're stupid. It's never been like that.
Well, they are stupid, so.
You don't call it Shinkenger or Gosager.
I've heard people say that. I've heard people say not Shinkenger, but I've heard people say Gosager. I've heard a lot of people say that, and it's fucking annoying. It is honestly really annoying, and I hate Gosager, so that's saying something. So, where do we start with this? Because, so Jay, you know me. You've been here for more than a while.
Yes.
I think you already know what annoyed me about this show. I think you can already tell.
Most of the entire premise of the show?
You mean the rock thing?
Well, I just meant in general. Sentai in general, but you go, yeah.
I wouldn't say that. It's very specific things. But again, I think you'll know when we get to them. So let's start off with our characters like we usually do.
Yeah.
And let's start off with our main guy, Jewel. I'm going to say that to piss people off. Because that's what it sounds like, and I know that's what the pun is. Don't fuck with me. I know this. There's no way you make a name that's stupid sounding and not have it be a pun.
I mean, this is Arakawa we're talking about. It probably was meant to be a pun.
Arakawa's a fucking asshole. So
I won't deny.
Where do we
considering some of the references he's made, but also you're wrong.
Well, look, he had the pineapple pen guy as a main character, okay? Which you know what? I shouldn't even say that because he was so inoffensive in this show. I don't really mind. I remember a lot of people having like reservations because they got the PPAP guy in this show. It's gonna be terrible. It's like he doesn't really do much. Really.
I mean, it was like a year after he was relevant when they announced he was in the show. Anyways, honestly,
I think it's just one of those things. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Honestly, I remember the show being very divisive when it came out because it was another one of those shows where everybody looks at the costumes and the suit design and like, oh, this looks like complete garbage. Let's not watch this. And I'll freely admit, I was in the same boat. And then they said Naruhisa Arakawa was running it. And I knew immediately that this show was going to be, at the very least, an 8 out of 10. And then I didn't watch it. And now I'm kind of regretting not watching it, to be entirely honest. But, yeah.
This is one of those times where Phil was right. We should have been watching it.
Phil was right. He gets the one. See, here's the thing. I knew that I was going... I've watched a couple episodes of the show in between. I watched, I forget which one exactly, but it was the one with, like the... Jiru's weird classmate and they get glued together. I watched that one just kind of offhandedly during a stream. I was like, oh, this is what Kiramager is like? I've been missing this the whole time? Shit, I gotta catch up. And then I didn't.
So, I guess before we get into... No, actually, you know what? We'll get into Juru by saying what I also... Well, by kind of surmising what I also think about the show. This show is wholesomely lame. That is what this show is. It is wholesomely lame. It is so fucking lame, but at the same time, it is so charming in it.
It's corny, but it's a charming
it is.
corny.
It is. It's like This show is the equivalent of a very good dad joke. That's we can start off with our main character, Red, or Juru, or Jewel, which I will keep calling him that because fuck off.
Oh, I have my fan. There we go.
Ooh, go for it. It's kind of weird to say that I didn't really think much of him. He was alright.
I found him. He's kind of an average Red overall. I liked him more later on once he got to grow, but you can say that for a lot of the characters as well.
Well, besides a few.
Yeah. Well, because when he starts off, he's kind of just like... Oh, excuse me. That was gross. He's a very atypical Red. Where he's not like the overly serious stoic hero type, or he's not the blathering idiot type. He's kind of dork. Yeah, he's kind of a dork. He's a little bit of a coward. He's honestly a very like passive character. Everything just kind of happens around him for the most part, and he's kind of going along with everybody else's ideas for the most part, which is very interesting for your Red, who is normally they are the hero, even if they're not like the leader, they're the hero, so they're usually not a very like passive or timid character or anything like that.
Yeah, and he and we'll get right into this because he kind of brings up that my main problem with the show, and again, you know exactly what this is that yes, he is a very passive character and things just kind of happen around him. But the problem is that they kind of treat him as he's not. Like, he is... Again, doing Messiah Chosen One storylines is very hard to do. Like, to make it seem convincing without making it seem, like, overly, Daigo. And this didn't get to Daigo levels. No. I should say that right now. This didn't get to Daigo levels at all. But it was very off-putting to see, like, everybody be like, oh, this guy's so special. Blah, blah, blah. And he's just kind of like, I just want to go home now. Can I go? Like, it kind of felt a little awkward. It kind of felt like a little bit unnatural, really. It was like, why is this passive dude who really hasn't done much being treated as essentially the Messiah here?
See,
and again, that's fine, but like, it just felt weird.
See, I would disagree. I don't think they like were treating him like the Messiah. I mean, there is definitely him receiving a little bit of undue praise, but considering he's a literal reality warper who can just create giant robots and weapons and shit from nothing,
sure,
I think he deserves a little bit of praise. And granted,
no, and I get that. Like, that's completely fine. Like, I actually really like the idea of like the mechs and stuff being coming from him. His imagination and his drawings. I like that. It's just towards the end they kind of make it seem like he is this super special guy when really you didn't really need to go in that direction. You could have just been like, he's special in the sense that he has this power, and that's fine. Like, and I think that's because my more of my issues with his character, well, not just character, the way they treat his character comes way at the end, which is honestly where the show started to lose me. But we'll get to that.
See, again, I don't necessarily fully agree. I think it's a little bit better later on, to be entirely honest, where again, he's actually done enough to kind of earn a lot of the praise. He's kind of broken out of his shell, and he's still kind of a doofus, not like full on like moron tier like a lot of Reds have usually been, but he's still a little bit like overly naive, and he's still a little doofy, but he's actually finally kind of grown into the leadership role for the most part.
Yeah.
And again, I think a little bit of it is overdone, but I don't think he gets any more praise more so than the rest of the team. It's not like he's being put on a pedestal and everybody else is chopped liver, basically. Everybody else, he doesn't... He definitely gets more praise than he earns, but I don't think he's overly praised more than the rest of the team, which I think is what you're thinking, and I can kind of see where you're coming from with it, but I personally disagree. I don't think he got overly hyped up. He definitely earned a little bit too much, especially more so earlier on, but he's not nearly as bad as you're kind of feeling that he is.
Well, again, like
granted, you are right. He is nowhere near as bad as basically every single Red that's come before him, with the exception of like I think like Yamato, like with the exception of Zero Eagle, like everybody from Daigo to him, that's kind of what you're thinking.
How many were between Daigo and Yamato?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're saying with Daigo to
from Choryu Red to now, with the exception of Zero Eagle. Basically, every Red has been like you're thinking, and I think he kind of breaks the exception for the most part. He gets a little,
like
bit
I said,
of it,
like
but he's not bad.
Yeah, he doesn't break the show for me. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't break the show for me. I just think there's a little too much there, but at the same time, it's not. Again, like I said, it's not Daigo. Like anybody who like is afraid, anybody who's afraid of this guy being like Daigo because I remember I remember there were some actual like people like, oh my god, he's gonna be like, because I think it was like after episode 1 or 2, people were like, ooh, is he gonna be like Daigo? It's like, no. If anything, there's times where again, it's kind of weird to say after I just went on this tirade, but like there are times where he is kind of downplayed, which is weird, which is why it kind of seems a bit weirder when they upplay him again. I don't know. It's weird, but I think it's only because of certain things they pace in the show weirdly.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying there. It kind of comes in waves, and it can be a little weird there, but I don't think he's nearly as bad as you feel he is, but I can kind of get where you're coming from with this.
Yeah, and the thing is, even then, I don't think he was a bad character overall. I think he was fun.
No,
I liked him for the most part.
I think he was a pretty great character.
I like the idea that, I mean, I know we've done it before, but I like the idea. I like the idea that he is supposed to be this leader, but at the same time, he is still basically a kid. Like, and not only that, but he's really the only kid in the team. Really, everyone else is pretty well into adulthood.
Like, at the very least, mid-20s, and he's like high schooler still, which is kind of weird, especially because he doesn't look any older than everybody else does. That's just Japanese acting.
I mean, let's be fair. I mean, Mighty Morphin Call, Jay.
Yeah, good point. I mean, granted, with the exception of David Yost, everybody was like 18, 19 at the time, which isn't too bad.
I know, but
David Yost was like 25 though, so he gets no.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I don't remember if he was like mid-20s during season 1.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. You can tell. You can fucking tell.
No, but
no offense to David Yost, of course. You are a lovely individual, and you have earned all of your praise. But yeah, no, you did not look like a fucking teenager during Mighty Morphin.
No, but seriously, like overall, I still like the Red. Honestly, he was my second favorite character. I don't know what that says about the others, but let's move on to the secondary in command, which
our real leader.
Yeah, Blue.
Oh, okay.
Or were you going with Yellow?
Yeah. I thought you were saying the secondary one. It was like, I mean, Yellow is basically the real leader of the team. I mean, they make that pretty clear.
Well, it's ironic you say that, just because, just like Red, I wouldn't be able to pick this fucker out of a crowd if you asked me about it.
Good point.
I see, like, Yellow, I couldn't really remember much about him. I liked him, but he wasn't like a standout to me. Not really.
I would disagree. Honestly, Tamatomo is my favorite character in the show.
Really?
Yeah, he's my favorite member of the team, to be entirely honest. Well, I'm going to put it like this. Tamatomo represents the most underrepresented minority in society these days.
Oh, fucking
That is the gamer. I kid, of course. Yeah, so I loved him. Like You
call him a gamer, he only plays 2 fucking games.
Yeah. Tamatomo is an esports player. Player of famous esports game God Eater 3. Also Tekken 7, which is literally just actually Tekken 7. They don't even bother hiding it like they usually do. That was a fun episode as well.
That was a fun episode.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird because when they introduce him, they kind of treat him like a joke, because like, oh, everybody else is like, oh, Blue's a big famous actor. Oh, Pink's like a world renowned doctor, and oh, you're
the fuck are you?
Scott, Yeah, I know who you are.
Scott.
Definitely. He gets a lot of like shit on him because nobody knows who he is, and they kind of break out of that mold a little bit earlier on, like later on, and he honestly again, his initial arc is he's pissed off that he's not the leader because Juru is made the leader because he is red. He is the leader because he is the Red Ranger, as is the usual trope, which I enjoyed them making that as an actual excuse. They use that as well. They use that as a decent plot.
You're red. You have to be the leader. Okay.
Yeah. And Tamatomo's initial arc is like him trying to accept the fact that he is not the leader, even though he feels like he should be. And on one hand, he does kind of like give in initially. He's like, you know what? I'm fine not being the leader. I'm fine with Juru being the real leader. I can accept that. But at the same time, Juru basically makes him the real leader because he's the one who's constantly coming up with everybody, all the cool plans.
He basically is like, you take care of this. I don't want to do this.
He is. Juru is the idea guy. Tamatomo is the one who. I mean, he's literally the idea guy. Tamatomo is the one who actually comes up with the plans, and for the most part, they pretty much always go completely as planned. He's that like I really like that aspect too. Is that like. He's so good at coming up with these big elaborate schemes to take down the monsters that he can even plan for when they pull random bullshit out of their asses to
like
spoil
time
the play.
travel.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was probably my favorite episode with him because the way he learned how to overcome it is, I wouldn't say clever. It's pretty blunt force, but it's also really fucking funny.
That was a fun episode because. They subvert the usual Groundhog Day loop bullshit because Tamatomo immediately figures out that he's in a time loop, and it's not like... Because usually like they'll spend like 2/3 of the episode with the character stuck in the time loop before they realize it. Here it's like he goes through one loop, and he's like, oh fuck, I'm in a time loop, aren't I? Great. And it's just him, like, again, Groundhog Day style, trying to come up with new schemes to get out of it. And it's a really fun episode, too, because... The entire, like, onset of the episode is he was just dicking around in a Tekken tournament playing as fucking Panda like a jackass. And he thinks that he got cursed by his weirdo, like, schizo opponent. And that's him learning to not be a complete jackass at tournaments is what helps him escape from the time loop. It's a fun...
Don't be an asshole at video games, kids.
Exactly. Granted, he's a Kazuya fag, so of course he's an asshole to begin with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Horang Chads rise up.
Exactly. So, again, I really like Tamatomo because, like, he's kind of like a goof, but he's really, like, he's honestly the real leader of the team, and that's kind of why I liked him.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's
for once, Yellow gets the spotlight.
Exactly. For Yellow is like usually the one who gets shit on the most, especially usually when it's like the male Yellows at the very least. The female Yellows tend to break the spotlight a little bit more, but male Yellow is usually in modern time usually get shit on the most, and Tamatomo breaks that mold. He is honestly my favorite character in the entire show.
It kind of feels like they let him go a little bit more, loose towards like the end, where like because towards the beginning, like he had some scenes, but towards the end it was like, okay, like my eyes are actually averting to him now. Oh yeah,
he straight up takes the spotlight during the second half. Like, there are parts where he's, like, he straight up defeats one of the main villains. He's got all these crazy ideas, and, like, he's basically the one who saves the day half the time, too. It's great. I honestly really liked him. And it helps that, like, again, he's a joke, but they're not, like, they don't completely turn him into, like, a clown. They make fun of him, and they let him have, like, goofy moments, but he's not a joke as a character. Like, there's a running joke about him, like, being upset that he doesn't have a girlfriend later on after one of the main villains gets introduced. And,
big
like,
oof.
Yeah, and then like okay, like haha, it's funny, I get it, but like even then, it's not like it doesn't become like a major aspect of his character. They bring it up every now and then, but it's not like every single episode isn't him complaining about that field with no GF. But
I mean, he is a gamer.
He is a gamer, of course. It makes sense.
He is a gamer.
It makes sense.
Though I will say, his backstory is pretty fucked.
Oh my god. His backstory was like, it was, on one hand, I hated it because it is one of the most cliche backstories imaginable. It is the
Yes.
oh, my relative died after I had an argument with them, and I never got a chance to say sorry. And that's been done to fucking death and back. But the actual context is his grandfather bought him a video game, and he was a little brat, and he's like, no, I hate this, go buy me another one. And he's like, oh, Grandpa will do it tomorrow, I'm tired. And then Grandpa had a fucking heart attack in the night, and he died. And then Tamatomo sees his parents crying over his granddad's corpse the night after he had an argument with him. And I'm like, what the again, on one hand, it's lame because it is the most stock tragic backstory imaginable, but it's like they kind of overdo it with how fucking tragic it was, and it kind of becomes hilarious.
Yeah. I almost expected Tamatomo was like, so am I still getting that game? I mean, that's pretty much about it for him, no? I think.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, he doesn't really have any major like subplots or anything like that. Granted, with the exception of Silver, nobody really does have any kind of major, overarching plots. They have like 1 or 2 episode plots, but they don't have anything like entire series wise anymore. They don't really do that anymore anyways, so.
Yeah, I mean, we've moved past them giving a shit about them, thus. I guess now we move on to the real good character, Blue, because I fucking loved Blue.
Okay.
You know what? I didn't think I was going to like this guy, but god damn it, he's so fucking charming and how fucking pathetic he is.
Shigeru is my second favorite character. I'll at least say that. He's my second favorite of the team. So again, Shigeru is weird because the way they introduce him is not at all how his character stays for the entirety of the show.
Yeah.
Because they introduce him in the first few episodes and leading up to his spotlight episode early on. They treat him as if he's going to be the overly edgy, serious, brooding character. Like he's going to be the serious one. He's going to be the quiet one who is like, "Oh, I'm just here to fight. I don't have emotions, blah blah blah. I'm an asshole to everybody." Kind of like Deca Blue for the most part. But then we get his spotlight episode and we find out that he's literally just acting. He is just pretending to be like a tough guy, and he's kind of a dipshit. He's kind of just like
he's a big old wimp.
He's a big old wimp. And his intro episode is him learning to not be such an asshole stick in the mud and open up around the other team members. And they actually stick to that as actual character development, because as the show goes on, he gets more and more and more ridiculous as the show goes on.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
And it's so good.
He's the one who gave me the most laughs.
He really does.
Show.
I love it too.
He's so fucking funny.
He honestly the most expressive of the team. He's got the funniest moments.
I love this guy.
He's just overall great. I cannot say anything bad about him, to be entirely honest.
Anytime they would talk about his movie roles and show him acting in something, I'm just like, oh, this is ridiculous, and I love it. Man, I want to see Base Detective, okay, or Base Attorney. I want to see that movie.
I'd watch it. That'd be fucking great.
Or my fucking favorite, when they're trying to cheer up I can't remember, Embark. When they're trying to cheer him up, and they're doing the comedy troupe, they're doing the show of skill, and then he just fucking breaks down, quote unquote. I'm just like, I love this guy. I love this guy so much. He is honestly my favorite character of this entire show. Bar none. I just, every time he was on screen, I'm like, more Blue. We just gotta have more Blue. That's all we need in this show.
It's a weird thing where they kind of introduce Yellow as being the comedic relief character, and then he kind of becomes more of the serious second in command, tough guy type. Shigeru is the opposite, where he's introduced as being the overly serious tough guy type, and then he becomes the comedic relief as the show goes on.
I mean, maybe that was just Arakawa just wanted to fuck with people. It's
honestly,
let's see how far they think they can take this.
Honestly, probably that would be entirely honestly probably is what it is.
I mean, I'm completely fine with that because he's fucking great.
No, yeah, he's great. He's got a lot of really great moments. Again, other than like a lot of his comedic moments, he doesn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately. But he's got all of his moments are absolutely hilarious.
See, I think it'd be a little bit unfair to like start to like say, to say like, oh, they don't really have many moments, because like I mean, know what I would say, they don't do much, because really,
yeah,
that's kind of been the trend for Sentai for a while. We know that at this point it's kind of like Red's the leaders. Like we know at this point they don't do much. Or at least they're not gonna do much.
No, exactly.
So for me, I kind of just take what I got, and what I got with Blue was fucking fantastic. It was, God damn it, I love this fucking guy. He's so good.
Oh yeah.
Like the moment, once the Spotlight episode hit, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is the guy. This is my guy right here.
This is the guy. Yeah.
Well, it's like I said at the beginning. This guy reminds me so much of Kampai Blue, and then you were the ones like, "Oh, you'll see how close he really is."
Yeah,
to him. Like, you're right.
It was funny you said that. Like, oh yeah, this guy reminds me of him. Like when you started like episode 2, I was like, yeah, you'll see how right I was. And it's funny because Kampai Blue is introduced as being like, again, the stock Blue, overly serious, like silent, brooding hero type, and then we find out that no, he's like literal subhuman
fucking
intellect
dweeb.
and just like a giant goofball. And that's the same thing that happens with Shigeru. That's great.
He is, again, he is my favorite of this show. I guess then we move on to they're fucking interchangeable, green or pink.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about either of them. Pink
is canon, and she gave me PTSD.
I literally took this as a note during her intro episode of Senna. Wait, shit. Again, they're interchangeable. Sayo is as pointless here as she was in Ghost Lamau. I did write Lamau, by the way.
God damn it. Well, okay. She was fine, she was fine. But there's nothing to say about her. Like, she doesn't have anything to do. She doesn't have any real episodes that are great. She's just a doctor.
Her and Senna have that problem of they're kind of just the stock girl characters. Sayo is the stock, like, girly, mature adult girl type, and Senna is the stock like preteen, like tomboy girl type archetypes for Sentai. They're pretty generic. They're pretty interchangeable. Neither of them have anything really interesting to say about them. The most interesting thing that I have to say about Kirame Green is a fucking Geki Ranger reference, and that's really all that she has going for her. Also, that her robot wants to fuck her, but that
it is like
it is uncomfortable by the end. Like
that thing was just like.
It's funny because
baby.
like they kind of treat it as like a joke. It's like he's got that like ultra reserved kind of like stuck up voice. Where like, oh, I get it, haha. He's supposed to be like a knight or a samurai, and he's protecting her, and it's like adulation for like a princess or whatever. But no, he like they ramp it up, and he just like legitimately wants to fuck her. Like there's an episode. I think by the time they do the body swap episode, the obligatory body swap episode that every show does, they're like, yeah, let's just have the robot want to fuck her. And the robot is I fucking forget what the robot's name was. It's in her body, and it's like, oh, I can finally feel her. It's like it starts reaching towards her breasts, and then like you have Senna off on the screen. It's like, no, don't play into the most obvious stereotype imaginable, please. Like that was a fun little bit, but like, yeah, no, it just wants to fuck her. It's so uncomfortable.
It is. I don't know, man. Like,
it's not even like if they did,
it's creepy.
If they did it once or twice, it'd be funny. Like, oh, haha, oh, like they hint at it, like, they keep it like kind of vague, and then like there's like one or two offhand jokes. No, they're just like open about the fact that the robot wants to have sex with her. It's kind of creepy, yeah.
And then we have.
And granted, it wouldn't be an Arakawa Sentai without weird sex shit, but that's besides the point.
Can't you just stick to the pits?
I mean,
just stick to that, man.
Look. it's not it's not as bad nor as good as Deca Pink's repeated bath time scenes, but it's still weird. It's still weird, dude.
Oh, I mean, I would argue it's probably worse because it's a fucking rock.
I mean, she's at least not naked during those scenes. So, on
She's
one
sweaty.
hand, you're wrong, but on the other hand, you're also right because it's a giant sentient rock that is talking about wanting to
How would
fuck
that even work?
this vaguely indeterminate aged woman.
Well, anyway, let's talk about Silver now.
Yeah, so let's...
Speaking of rocks.
Yeah, our guy, Takamichi.
Your guy, I'm not taking him.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking it. I'm just saying our guy. I don't know. I like saying our guy. He's kind of all over the place. He's, for the most part, kind of like the stock sixth for the most part. He reminded me a lot of like Deca Break early on, where he's kind of an asshole. He's kind of a part of the team, but not really. He's clashing with the team a lot because he doesn't really care about teamwork. He's just there to do his job and kind of use their resources. But unlike Deca Break, he never really has that moment where he finally learns to fully cooperate with them, because he kind of does, but he's still kind of off doing his own thing, and he's kind of on the board with the teamwork. He's kind of not, and there's no real consistency to him as a character, and he doesn't really... He's just kind of there, honestly.
It's weird. It's weird that you say that because, like, even like, well, I wouldn't say it's weird that you say that because it's true, but like, it's weird because like, you kind of feel like he should have had that episode at some point. Like, there should have been an episode where he really just gets his ass slapped around, but it kind of just happens. It kind of just like. Whatever, I guess I'm part of the team now, and I'm happy.
It just kind of happens between episodes for the most part, like, because again, he's got his mini arc that is all six to do of, oh, I've got my own little scheme going on, and he kind of like, that's kind of when it happens, is when he gets the rest of the Kiramagers in on his plot line, is when he kind of learns to work with them. But even then, excuse me, he's still off doing his own thing for the most part for a little while, and it's just kind of in between episodes. He's just, okay, I'm 100% on board helping you guys out fight Jotunheim. Okay,
it's weird. It is weird.
Yeah.
And I wish there was more to say about him because I really liked his fucking suit.
Yeah,
I really liked the suit.
I liked the design. I did not like the color scheme. The neon orange and cyan on the glittery silver.
I knew you were going to say something about the orange.
It's gross.
You know what?
Gross.
It's not as nice as the Boken silver one. I'll say that.
No. Well, the Boken silver one is a much higher quality material as well.
Yeah, that one actually looks like it was silver.
Yeah, that one actually is
plastic.
Like metallic silver and not gray rubber with fucking glitter on it. So
it looked like he was literally colored in by like a Crayola, like one of those Crayola crayons that say silver, but it just looks like a very nice gray.
Ugh, yeah.
You know what? Now, before we get into the main events of the show, because fucking the villains are the best part of the show, should we talk about the suits real quick? Because I kind of didn't mind them. For the most part, I liked some of the suits.
See, again, that's the thing, is that when they first showed off the suits, I was like, oh, these are kind of gross. Like, they've all got that gross kind of glitter effect, and then there's like the sash that looks like a road, and there's like the weird glitter gems, and the helmets were kind of cool, but they were a little funky looking, and I was like, I kind of didn't like any of the costumes when I first saw them. And then as I'm watching the show, I'm like, all right, yeah, seeing them in motion and, watching them do all these cool flips and, effects and stuff, and all right, they actually look pretty good. And for the most part, that happened with the mechs as well, because like, you see the mechs and they're these giant like translucent crystal plastic things, and it's like, oh, that looks like shit on a big bulky suit, where they can't afford to do fully translucent plastic, but It's like,
I'm 100% of the opinion they should have never stopped doing night fights with those mechs.
Oh, no.
They do not look great in daytime.
No, I mean, well, they get to do the night shots too, where they light up the translucent parts, and it looks way, way better. And I think that's another aspect as well, where them full bright just look kind of gross because it loses the translucent effect for the most part on the bigger, bulkier suits, and like all the glitter and like the silver on like even all of them kind of have like they're just like color on top of silver, and they none of them really flow together well. And the designs were kind of lame. Like Kiramager was all right, like it having like no arms except for the big shovel claw and the sword was kind of weird, and like I honestly the only mech I actually liked was King Express, and even then its upgraded version with Zabune was kind of lame. It's got like the weird like jet engine gun thing. It was like this doesn't work. Like it worked earlier on with the smog engine, where it's got the black and purple to kind of contrast with the silver and the red, and it looks really good. It's got the fucking sunglasses and everything, and it looked really cool. And then everything else is just kind of lame. Like Gigant Griller, again, it's just like neon orange with some glittery parts, and the 8 billion drills was cool, and the final mech, something Phoenix, I don't remember, was alright. Again, it has that issue of like, all the gold and the red looks really good, but then it's got the translucent crystal shit on it, and it just kind of distracts, and especially because that one is like 60% of the suit too.
See, but, for me, I don't really have much to say on the mechs because I barely watch the mech fights.
Of course, yeah, because you're a coward and you don't watch the mech fights.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't like watching the same shit over and over again. But then again, I watch Toku, so there we go.
Yeah. Where do you think you are?
I know, right? You see, at least with fuck, I was about to say Saber. Fuck no. Oh God. I'll get to that in June. Or when it'll be June, I think, when it ends.
Oh fuck.
So yeah, we'll get to that in fucking June. You better get on that, buddy. It's getting longer.
No.
Hey man, it's got Ghost Rider. We're heading for 50, motherfucker. Choo choo. I swear to God, if Saber actually does turn out to be 50 episodes, I will fucking go to Japan and yell at someone. I will fucking yell at somebody. Anyways, back onto this actually good show. So moving on from the suits, because the mech stuff I don't have much of an opinion on because I don't really care about mechs and Sentai. To be fair, I don't really like many mechs and Sentai. I've said that before. But with the actual suits of the members themselves, I thought they were all right. They still looked a little weird, I won't lie. They still look kind of funky even towards the end. At least it wasn't that power-up form that looked like garbage. That power-up form looked... Not only did it look like garbage, Jay, it looked cheap.
Oh,
it looked cheap.
Oh no! You have no idea how cheap looking Go Kiramager was. It was
my God,
extraordinarily cheap. It was. See, here's the thing. On one hand, I really, really liked that is a full team power up that every single member gets to have. I honestly, that was like the most exciting part of seeing the power up form come in, is that everybody gets to use it at once, and it's not like it's so nice to see like a classic style power up form in Sentai again. The last fucking time we got a full team wide power up form was fucking Super Go-Sager, and that was 10 fucking years ago. And that was the last time we got a full team wide power up.
Didn't Go Busters have one?
Well, okay. Sure, Go Busters did have it with the powered custom, but they were all unique forms. Like, this is the first time we had,
you're talking about uniform. Okay.
Like a full uniform shared team power-up. Like we used to get back in like the 90s and the 2000s. Like the classic style power-ups. This is the first time we've got one in ages. And it's so cheap. It is a fucking chest plate.
It's gaudy as shit.
It is a big, bulky chest plate and nothing else. There's no new boots. There's no, like, knee pads or shoulder pads. They don't even get a new helmet. It is just the big fucking chest plate. And I'll give them this.
Here's the thing.
I'll give them this, that they at the very least made a variant for every single color had a different variant for like where the gem was. Like everybody got one with one in the center and everybody got one with one on the shoulder. I'll give them that much, is that they at least did that much. But then it's like they did nothing else. Like they don't get a new helmet. They don't even get new boots or like knee pads or even like a fucking belt or anything. It's just the big fucking chest piece. And it's so disappointing.
The worst part about it is, and I think you know what I'm talking about as well, is just where's the color? There's no color in it. It's gross. It's gross. Look, it's almost like styrofoam that they painted on with fucking marker. You know what I mean?
I think
it's nasty.
If it wasn't like all black in the center and it was like their color plus the silver, I think it would look better. But it's like it's silver and like predominantly black, and then they've got the gem in the center with their color on it, and there's kind of like little detail lines with their colors as well. But it's like it's mostly just kind of like gray and black, and it's kind of
lame. And it like I said, it looks like somebody made like a piece of armor from styrofoam. It's gross. And again, I like the lead up to it. I like the lead up. I like the build up to them getting the power up, and I like how they like overcome to get that power up. But then the actual power up is just like, man, can we just go back to giving Red a power up? They'll spend like the 5 cents they use on each of them for him. Fuck's sake, man. But I think after that, I guess we could go right to our villains, because I like the villains a lot in this episode, in the show.
Yeah, in this episode.
Well, in this show, I actually really like the villains.
Technically, this episode.
Right.
I liked most of the villains. Garza, of course, steals the show because he's Yuichi Nakamura, and that's what he does.
Fucking Garza. I mean, guys, can you not name your villain the guy I used to work for? Fuck's sake. Like, Jesus, dude. Like, do you know, it's like, oh, the main bad guy is Garza. It's like, do you know where I am? Do you know where I live? Do you know how little that whittles it down? Could be any of these fuckers.
Yeah. I liked him a lot because he's basically the Starscream of the show, where he's kind of working for the villain, but he's really kind of working for himself and just using the villain's resources to further his own schemes. And he's just kind of evil for evil's sake. And he's just kind of a dick, and he's manipulative and a schemer, and he's just like full on evil 100% of the time. And he's so entertaining.
He's super evil.
Yeah.
I honestly, I really liked him too because, well, obviously for one, you have the connection to the heroes and the villains, but I also kind of like towards the end, I won't say I liked his face turn, but I liked the idea behind his face turn.
See, I'm gonna immediately disagree. I fucking hated his face turn. I do not think they should have done it at all.
No, I don't think I don't like it, but I like the idea behind it. I don't think they did it right at all.
And
you don't like it at all?
My biggest reason is because they pull the bullshit excuse that they did with fucking Abare Killer, where they introduce him and he's like, oh, haha, no, I'm not brainwashed or anything. I'm totally 100% evil all of the time. And then suddenly, 10 seconds before he's fucking killed off in the finale, oh, actually, you were totally brainwashed the entire time, haha. None of your decisions actually mattered because it was all of my scheme. And it completely invalidates both any build-up to his face turn at all, and honestly invalidates basically everything that happened in the show, because it makes it kind of all pointless because, oh, haha, you were actually under my control the entire time, and this was all of my plan to begin with. Like, fucking what? Okay, sure, even though you told us no, he wasn't brainwashed to begin with, which again is the same shit they did with Abare Killer, where they tell us, no, he is definitely not brainwashed 100%, and then they suddenly decide, oh, actually, never mind, he is brainwashed. And it completely invalidates his face turn, because he does not have... It loses the aspect of him kind of learning his lesson of, oh, I am...
Maybe I shouldn't be an asshole.
Maybe I shouldn't have been an asshole for my entire life. Maybe there is something I did wrong, and maybe I can try to learn from it. nope, actually, I was just brainwashed, so nothing I did actually mattered to begin with.
See, again, and I'll elaborate a bit on this. I don't like the idea. I don't like how they did it, and I don't like the idea that they did this whole thing where I don't like they did this whole thing where like he was actually just brainwashed or corrupted. The idea that I liked was more like again, basically learning his lesson. I like the way he learned his lesson in a sense. I like that idea because it does go back to the imagination stuff and the drawing and all that other shit. I like that idea because it still stuck to it.
No,
the actual way that it did it, with the corruption. I'm not gonna lie, when they mentioned the corruption thing, I was just like, well, yeah. Did anybody else actually think that this guy who is in a planet full of people who look like blue diamonds, like, I'm not trying to be racist here, but he's the only black guy on the fucking planet, man. Do you honestly think he is natural? I'm not saying that black people are natural, but still.
To be fair, they only had like the 3 Crystallian heads, so it was probably just budget.
But still, like,
I get the
you
idea,
have this entire planet full of blue diamonds, and then there's this black diamond out of nowhere, and it's like, yeah, no shit, he was fucking corrupted. Yeah. Like even at the beginning, I was just like, okay, maybe if they show there's pink diamonds and on all this other shit, I can buy it, But no, he's the only black one there, and I'm just like, yeah, no shit, he was corrupted. This is just gonna be all pointless in the end. This is just pointless, which is why I kind of was thinking like, they killed the main bad guy. Is the twist that he actually is just somehow just a stupid dumbass who was like, I'm just evil now? Like, okay, I'm kind of with that. But then, well, they pulled the whole, no, you're just corrupted, which I'm just like, well, damn, okay. Kind of a fucking air deflator.
I would have been fine with it if his defeat, he, at the end of the big show off with him and Jiru was him kind of learning his lesson and like, okay, I've learned my wrongs. Here I am dying. I can die at least in peace.
Yeah.
If they just stuck it with that, I would be fine with it. Trying to redeem him just in general, it's lame. I'm sick of them trying to redeem villains just in general. It's so overdone these days. And granted, the show does redeem another villain, and I actually liked that, but I'll get into that when we get to him. I hated when they did it with Garza because absolutely nothing he did or said leading up to the reveal and his death at all made me think he was worth redemption at all. Nothing he did at all ever showed that he was worthy of redemption in the slightest.
Well, no, because the whole time you were under the assumption that not only does he committed basically genocide, and exactly. B, he wanted to finish the fucking job and didn't care what he had to do to finish it. So it's like, yeah, this guy's just an asshole. Why should I care about what he wants, really? Exactly.
And it makes the reveal of him being brainwashed that much worse, because it makes what was up to that point a really, really great, sinister, terrifying villain into just yet another fucking chess piece for the real big bad. And also it completely invalidates everything leading up to the reveal in that episode of, he was actually a good boy once. Maybe he can be a good boy again.
He was a good boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was pure and white like a diamond, Jay.
Yeah, and then he became evil and black. Listen, you were the one going on about how he was the only black one there.
That's why I'm saying we're not saying this because the show says it for us, guys.
Exactly.
They do this. No, but like you were saying, like it's the whole thing where for some reason they just cannot help themselves to just allow a villain to be evil. They have to redeem him. They have to make him a good guy. And see, here's another thing. I kind of didn't like I'm not going to say kind of. I hated the idea that he wasn't the main bad guy. I kind of get it. You know what? I knew for a fact he was never going to be the full main bad guy, but I kind of wish he was. I wish he was the final boss because you actually had something to lose / connect with if they beat him. So it's like, yeah,
I think if they reversed the order of the last 4 episodes of have the big showdown with Emperor Yodon, and then have Garza bodyjack him and become Lord Garza for the last 2 episodes, that would have worked way better.
Actually, it would have fit your analogy or your comparison to him in Starscream at that point.
Yeah, because that would have been
helped a
him
lot better.
finally enacting his all according to Keikaku long-term scheming bullshit, which he kind of does, leading up to him becoming Lord Garza and, bodyjacking Yodon. But then they just Yodon just takes over his body because, I was preparing for this shit the entire time. Haha. I knew that you were going to try to steal my body, which is why I let you do it to begin with.
I knew that you knew that I knew you knew you were going to betray me.
Exactly, yeah. And
it's lame, dude. It's lame.
It's kind of lame.
And it doesn't help that Yodon is just he's lame as fuck.
He is the most generic big bad I've seen since the fucking Showa era Sentais.
Oh, yes, he is. And see, you can make a Showa era evil man villain good. You can do that.
Yeah,
in modern times. It's just one, we barely see the fucking guy up to the last 10 episodes, really. And then two,
granted, the show got cut short because of COVID, so it's understandable there. And that kind of also leads into a lot of more problems with the last 4 or 5 episodes as well. But even then, that's you had time to introduce him and kind of build him up more, but they really don't start mentioning Emperor Yodon until Yodona shows up, and then he himself doesn't appear until episode 38, and there's 5 episodes left by that point, and it's crazy.
But that's why I'm saying that's why I wouldn't have minded if Garza was the main bad guy. I wouldn't have minded if he was he's a big bad. He's kind of weak right now, but you know that he's building something up. And then you can mention he wants to take over. You could just call Yodon a fucking Satan entity, Satan type entity. We know that they exist in this fucking world. Yeah. Fuck, I don't know why they couldn't have just done that. But it just kind of felt really empty. That's the thing. It's weird because it's not that I'm not upset because it's lame. I'm upset that they fucking basically did Garza really fucking dirty.
Oh yeah.
Because I kind of really liked him to that point. I mean, hey, anyone who can fucking do literal black metal and still win is great to me. I mean, dude, literally fucking dark metal, just fucking shredding that shit. Hell yeah, I'm in for that.
Oh yeah.
Then we have my favorite character of the entire show, Captain Crunchula. Fucking can't munch the crunch, my dude. He's fucking great.
I kind of didn't like him early on because he was kind of annoying. But his annoyingness kind of becomes the most charming part about him. He's just kind of there most of the time. He's just kind of ditzing around. He's the guy who makes the monsters, allegedly, I guess. We never actually see him make the monsters. But he's just kind of doing his own shit. He's just having
fun, man.
He's just having fun. He's just bowling. I'm going to make a bowling monster. That sounds cool.
Marshmallows? I want to make some marshmallow monsters.
Yeah, marshmallows are fucking tasty. I'm going to make a marshmallow monster to make me marshmallows. That's literally a plot, by the way.
My favorite part is when he makes the cat one and even the Rangers are like, oh, is he running out of fucking ideas already?
Yeah, he's just
jeez.
I mean, granted, that was right at the end of the show. It's he makes the monster a cat monster to turn people into cat people. And the Kiramagers are just what the fuck is this? He's he must be in some kind of slump or something. He's totally out of ideas.
He's phoning it in now.
Which is funny because, 5 minutes before that, Crunchily was talking about how he is in a slump and has run out of ideas. But then as they're saying that, he's walking up behind them. He's like, hey, how dare you say that entirely true thing about me?
I love him, dude.
He's so
again,
great.
Like you, it was kind of he's a villain, whatever.
He's alright.
But then for some reason, he started getting more and more endearing, and it's not even they really change much about him. He's just becomes endearing.
There's just more of him, and then that weirdly enough makes him more interesting. Is just seeing him do his shit more and more, and it's he's kind of weirdly lovable in a way. He's
he's
kind of like
fucking doof.
kind of a doof. He's again, it's not quite one of those everybody's an idiot kind of Sentai where
No.
nobody is taken seriously at all. But a lot of the characters are just kind of doofuses, and that's a lot of Arakawa's style. Where like again, Deca Ranger was a lot like that, where everybody was just kind of like schlubby. They were kind of doofy a little bit, even the villains for the most part. And that's one of the parts I really liked about this show, is that everybody's just kind of a goof.
Yeah,
And
see, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, they're a goof, but they also understand. They've walked that perfectly fine line between you're a fucking joke and you just know how to have a fun time. You know how to not take everything fucking seriously.
oh yeah, no, exactly. And
I
think
like that. I like that.
That's
about
definitely
it.
Arakawa's strong point, and I think that's what makes this show so entertaining. Is it's got that balance of serious and comedic, and like a lot of shows struggle to do the serious and comedic aspect, where like it'll be like serious. Here's a dumb joke, and that's our comedy bit, or it's like they'll be mostly comedy, and then they'll just throw in like a serious moment, like, and it comes completely out of nowhere, left field, jarring.
Deno.
Not quite, but you get the close enough. And that's one of the parts I liked about this show too. Again, is it is such a good balance, and that kind of leads into the villains there, where he's not like Crunchula is like a joke, but he's not treated as a joke. He has silly moments, but he's still taken seriously. Like the monsters are still, for the most part, taken seriously. Like there are some goofier monsters. Like again, there's the marshmallow monster. Or
There's the glue monster.
I was
glue monster.
Literally just about to say the glue monster. Or like the rugby monster, or like the camera monster, or there's the oven monster. Like again, there's
the oven and freezer monsters.
like there's just like, again, it is just random shit, the monster, and it's so fun. And it's fun because it's, again, just here is just random shit we turned into a monster. Let's write an episode about that. And
it's great because it takes certain things that, like, because if I remember correctly, there was never really items there that you would inherently believe are just dangerous, like inherently dangerous. Like, he takes bowling, for example, where the only way that the monster can make a bowling ball explode is if there's 10 of you.
Yeah,
well, shit, there's only 5 Sentai
Yeah, if it
members.
rolls a strike and it's like, wait, shit, I can't kill them because there's only 5 of them.
Oh no, I'm in the wrong show.
Quick, let's go back to Q Ranger.
Oh, what's up?
I said, quick, let me go to Q Ranger. That'll be effective.
I know, right? You'd fucking win.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite ones was the, I don't remember his specific, Putter Mask? Is it Putter?
Yeah, the
fucking
golf monster.
guy?
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's so good.
Oh,
I
my
love how
God.
they beat him too. It's so ridiculous.
There were a lot of like really ridiculous monsters, and for the most part, the show does again treat them seriously. Like there's the episode with the fucking glue monster, and it's gluing people together, and okay, it's not like a joke because haha, it's sticking things to each other. It's like, no, there is actually a threat here as well, and I kind of like that aspect too.
Yeah, it's like you said, like Arakawa can very much balance joking and comedic, where it's like, yeah, this situation in any other place would be a fucking joke. It'd just be a big old gag. But the characters are taking it seriously enough to where, okay, there is actually a little tension in this jokey situation. Like, oh shit, what if they can't get unstuck? Or what if he sticks a bomb to them or something?
Exactly. Or like, what if we're stuck as fucking cat people and we can't fight the monster?
That one was just creepy, dude.
The fucking rap episode, which was just
shit.
awful. Like,
that one was so good.
That one was really like dumb because it's one of those, we've conveniently pissed off our friends and then now we're stuck in a situation where we can't apologize episodes. And it's like, for no discernible reason at all, Crunchula is he's just rapping now for some reason. He's
You go
never
through
been shown to
phases.
be able to rap before, but he's just able to rap now. So fuck it.
You go through phases, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I mean, dude, I you know, as lame as the bars were, I fucking like the flow of some of the raps. They were fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? All jokes aside, Crunchula was actually a good rapper. I mean, everybody else who sang was complete dog shit, but he was the best to me entirely.
Oh, Yodana
honest.
was the fucking worst, dude.
No, she was fucking bad. Well,
Oh, dude, that was almost like I get it. She's trying to stay in character, but fuck, I mean, stop. Don't do that.
I was listening to Juru rap, and I'm like, ugh, he has no flow. He has no rhythm at all. He's like
He's the whitest Japanese guy you know.
fucking Eminem is a better rapper than he is. And I say that half unironically because Eminem used to be good back in the day, but Slim Shady
it's-
no
but it's
longer
funny.
exists on this plane of existence. Anyways,
Oh man, Slim Shady, is that what we call Garza now?
yeah, well, yeah, you know what? Maybe, yeah.
Oh, there we go. I mean, again, it's like you said, there's so many of these villain plots, like these mask plots that are just, in any other context, they'd be fucking ridiculous. They'd be stupid.
Yeah.
But in this show, it's done in such a way where you actually really get into it. Like one of my favorite ones is the reset episode where he keeps resetting it, and Yellow basically beats the shit out of this guy so much that he just gives up. He just is like, all right, I get it. I'm done. I'm going home. Fuck this.
Yeah,
I love that.
That was a really good one.
Excuse me.
And on one hand, I kind of like the aspect of, oh, the monster of the week and the giant monster are two different entities, and like, all right, it's kind of interesting, but they've kind of done that like every fucking season now since like Go Busters, and it's starting to get old. And
Oh,
kinda
have
sick.
they?
I'm like, off the top of my head, Go Busters did it. I'm pretty sure Kyoryuger did it. Q Ranger. Did Q Ranger do it? I can't remember. Zyuohger didn't do it. I didn't watch Lupat enough to remember.
Nobody did.
No.
Oh,
Actually, no. No, actually, I don't think a lot of shows have done it at this point. Now that I think about it, either way, it's gotten a little dull. They've done it enough where the concept is starting to get a little dull, but it's always a little interesting to see, especially because that gives them an excuse to make a second suit that's not even necessarily tangentially connected to the monster of the week, which is pretty interesting.
yeah, and they can just do whatever they want with it.
Oh, yeah.
I also like how basically with all of the masks beasts. I'm gonna call them masks beasts because that's what they are. I like with all the mask beasts. They all have their own personality. They're villains, but they all still have a very completely unique personality to each of them, and I really like that.
Yeah, again, that's a very like early 2000 Sentai thing where the monsters of the week are just like they are just exist in this universe. They are just another guy who happens to be here. They're not just a monster created to be a monster of the week. They like you can tell this is a person who existed up to this point who has like a history and has like a personality and all that. And they don't do that enough anymore, and I really enjoyed that, and I kind of liked, and it made them all that more entertaining, to be entirely honest.
It almost got to the point, like about halfway through, I was just like, can we just have like an episode with the villains? I kind of want to see that. I want
Yeah.
to see what these guys are up to. Like, what's their day life? Like, what's their like day jobs like? What's it like at the office, man? I want
yeah.
to see that. I love them. And then, unfortunately, we do have to talk about Yodana, who's just boring.
Her introduction shakes up the show enough where we have a new villain who's kind of breaking the mold, where Garza was kind of given free reign up to this point, and Crunchula was Crunchula, as we've discussed. But now we have a villain who's directly working for the big bad, who's kind of taking charge of the show, and now everybody's kind of got to work around this, and like Garza's got to adapt, and the Kiramagers have to adapt because now we have a new big bad, you know. But then, like after a couple episodes, she's just kind of there. Nothing she really does ever contributes majorly after her introduction. Like, she has the power to upgrade monsters, and she doesn't really do it too often. Like, there was one episode she accidentally does it on Kirame Green.
Yeah.
It's like a weird clone episode, and like that's really the only time they do anything interesting with it. Like, oh, she can make the mooks invincible, or oh, she can create clones, or whatever. But like, she herself never really does anything interesting.
See, I understand the idea of having like a straight man villain to like, balance it out, and maybe once in a while they do jokes with her, but she kind of flip-flops a lot where it's like, okay, I'm supposed to take her super serious because she is the super serious villain, but then they're doing jokes with her, and then they almost make me want to they're trying to make me feel bad for her, and I'm just like, this isn't really working for me. There's not much working for me with her.
Like, they do this thing where, like, oh, I don't understand emotions, haha, this is where I am supposed to do my evil laugh, right? Or, like, shit like that, and, like, is that supposed to be her character? Is that, like, she's a weirdo, emotionless husk, and, like,
she doesn't get emotions.
Yeah, like, okay, is, like, why does she need to? Is, like, okay, whatever.
See, I kind of thought that's what they were going to do with her, because, or at least that's where they were going to go with her, I should say. Because in the beginning, she's like, oh, humans interest me. I like seeing their emotions. And a few times, she even gets it with the villains where, for example, the mannequin mask. He's walking around the warehouse of mannequins, and she's just there pretending to be a mannequin for no reason. And she's like, oh, I just want to see what it was like. It sucks.
Yeah, I was Moving okay, fucking weirdo.
Even the mask is just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, even he was just like, why were you doing that? For what purpose?
But see, that's the thing. If that was her character, where she would be like, she's the serious villain, but they give her these comedic things where, like, oh, she shows up. Let's say, for example, the putter mask. How does she relay her, or how does she show up into the scene? Oh, she's doing golf because, oh, putters, golf. That sounds interesting. I want to try golf, like something like that.
They kind of did that joke where she's standing there with like golf clubs and almost knocks a moose head off doing it, but like that's not even like her introduction. They're just there fucking around with the monster, and she's just there swinging a golf club on the side. It doesn't really have to do with anything. It's just there.
And see, if they did that with her, her death would have actually had a fucking impact, because at that point we would have seen her kind of grow fond. Like, this is all me saying it. We could have seen her grow fond of like human activities, like, marshmallows. Oh, these are all right. Golf. This is kind of fun. Oh, cats? Oh, these are kind of cute. I like cats. Something like that, where she grows attached to human-like things, and slowly, she starts like, humanity's not so bad, and then she dies right when she gets it. And it's like, that would have actually made her death impactful.
It would have, if it weren't for the fact that that's literally Crunchula's plot, and it... Granted,
yeah.
Granted, they don't introduce him really having that as a plot until, like, right at the end anyways. Like, again, they have him being like, oh, I know all this cool stuff about human culture, oh, this interests me, and like, it doesn't become a him about like, part of him being like, oh wait, I actually kind of like humans, oh, I don't want them to be destroyed, oh shit, okay. Like, that doesn't really become a thing until like right near the end. So
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least with Crunchula, he already kind of understood that kind of concept where Yodana was kind of just a husk, and that could have been a thing, But they kind of do it in such a way where it kind of feels like they want to try that, but then they kind of just feel, you know what, let's just keep her as serious. Like, the worst one to me was when they started introducing that she liked ice cream, and then they just kind of dumped that fucking immediately. Like, not even give it a fucking episode, just stopped.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what, I legitimately do not know what to feel to this girl. Like, am I supposed to be sad that she's dead now? Because I don't feel sad. Honestly, I felt really indifferent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll give him this. I really liked her debut because, for starters, did not fucking see... Well, okay, I already knew she was going to exist, but, like, if I was not already told that, yeah, she was going to be a character, I would have been so, like, fucking taken aback at her debut, because it's like, there is literally nothing, both in the episode prior and in the episode itself, hinting that this chick is going to be the main, like, the new main villain, up until right when she pulls the fucking evil morpher out of her ass and is like, hey, Garza, I'm here, come send some mooks to me, like 2 seconds before she transforms. Like, okay, like, yeah, she's creepy and whatever, but, like, you don't think she's going to be literally working for the main villain or anything like that. It's kind of honestly a decent surprise.
Yeah, because like up to that point, the only line that we get of something weird is the priest at the shrine being like, "Oh, the only other person who liked this place was an alien," and you'd be like, "Oh, so aliens are just a thing." But then you kind of like, "Oh, it's just they're obviously crystals." But you know, maybe she's an alien too. I mean, technically, I guess she is an alien. And then go for it.
And she just kind of doesn't really do anything beyond her debut. Like they kind of set up a thing with her and Tamatomo, because her introduction episode is Tamatomo fucking slobbering all over her because he's a hopeless virgin and wants a hot goth GF. And
I mean,
not that I can blame him,
he is a gamer, Jay.
Not that I can blame him, of course. And then like when she turns evil, it's like he kind of gets like really disappointed that she was a villain. And then like but they don't really do anything like having a relationship between the two where like, oh, that, she is Tamatomo's rival, they are the rival, again, they usually do that where like one of the side rangers will have a rivalry with a main villain, and they don't really do that here. It's just kind of like there. Like Jiro has it with Garza, but I mean that's expected with the Red Ranger to have the rival. Usually they give it to like a side ranger or whoever, and not really. I mean, the other Kiramagers, like they'll tease him about her every now and then, where it's like, oh, haha, you're still in love with her. Oh, haha,
haha, your girlfriend's evil.
Like Shigeru on multiple points is like, we know you have a thing for hot goth priestesses, Tamatomo, but you need to relax. And he's like gritting his fucking teeth, like choking back tears. He's like, I'm not upset. Stop bringing it up.
Shut up, guys. No.
Yeah, he's that fucking angry Wojak with the tears. That's him like half the fucking show once Yodona gets introduced.
I can totally see it too.
But that's the thing, is like they don't really do anything with it. Like it's kind of an offhand joke every now and then, but him having a thing with Yodona is just entirely irrelevant.
The thing is, he doesn't even really have a thing with her. Like, not really.
No, that's exactly what I mean. Is like they kind of set up like that there is, because they again, that's exactly what I was referring to. But they kind of set it up where like, oh, he's got a thing with her. Oh, she's actually evil. Oh, you took advantage of me to find this thing, and they kind of have a rivalry. But like, other than again like offhanded jokes that Yodona and the rest of the team makes, there's nothing to it. It's just an offhand joke.
And again, like going back around to like the point where like again, she does die in the show, and she does die in like the obvious, aha, I am the big bad and you are my loyal servant, so I have betrayed you, my loyal servant, and she dies. But again, there's no emotional weight to it because you weren't really made to care. You weren't really made to care about this chick. Not really. You just kind of assumed she was just kind of an asshole who liked certain things, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I guess from that, we just talk about the story in general, because I mean, I know I'm going to be an outlier here, and I can already tell where this is going. I kind of liked it more when we weren't focusing on the main plot. I liked them just kind of fucking around more. If that makes sense. Yeah. I love the episodes when they were just fucking around. That was fun.
I think that's Arakawa's strong suit, is mostly just like a serialized kind of show where, oh, it's mostly just them fucking around, but here's kind of a plot that's going on, and the episode furthers it a little bit, but it's mostly just, here's a goofy monster of the week plot.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that way more.
He tries to do more of like an actual ongoing story, like again, more like a traditional Sentai for the most part, but it doesn't really work as well, because like early on there really isn't a story other than, well, we got to stop the Jotunheim from destroying the Earth because evil. And then there's kind of an ongoing story arc with the fucking Grantor Stones, and fucking hated those things.
I don't even know why they even... I legit do not know why they introduced those. There was no reason for them.
Plot.
But like, legitimately, like, there was no reason to introduce those things at all. It just kind of felt like... Honestly, it kind of felt like Arakawa was just like, how the fuck do I bring back their planet? Realistically.
I guess. It's kind of like...
Besides that, what else do they offer?
Nothing really. It's like the idea of like, oh, we need to get all of these magic wish MacGuffins before the villains get them, but the villains don't even fucking know they exist until right at the end when they already have 3 of them, and the 4th one doesn't even really end up mattering, the fact that they get it.
Yeah.
Like if the whole show was about them trying to fight over the magic wish stones, like, okay, then that's one thing. But they're introduced basically as an excuse to keep Takamichi around, because, oh, he wants to find them all so he can wish Crystalia back. Okay, sure, whatever, fuck it. But like, there's no tension, because it's not even like we need to have all of them to get a wish, because each one individually grants its own fucking wish.
Right? And I was about to fucking bring that up. I legitimately, I was like, am I crazy? Did one of them not grant a wish?
Because, for starters, one, there's no, like, it doesn't really seem like there's a limit to which of the 4 stones can make wishes. Like, they only use them to make one specific kind of wish, but at the same time, like, the specific stone doesn't seem to necessarily, like, they all have different names that seem to imply it, but they don't seem to necessarily matter for what they do. And on the other hand, like, there's no tension or risk of them using the individual wish, because they just fucking regenerate and grant more wishes later on. And I guess enough time passes between the earlier parts of the show when they use them and the ending for them to be able to use all 4 at once, whatever.
It's an extremely shitty version of Dragon Balls.
Yeah, kind of. Except there's less of them, so there's less of a plot to follow along.
Exactly. Well, see, and the problem is, like, I would have liked the idea, like you mentioned earlier. Like, let's say Mabushina, who we didn't even mention, but don't worry about her. She doesn't matter. She's about as useful as Dr. Hakakatanamanamanami. Dr. PPAP.
Yeah, Dr. fucking... They got the fucking pineapple pen meme song guy in the show, and honestly, he's pretty fun in this show. I really enjoyed him for the most part, even though he's the chief, basically. He's
the chief.
Yeah, he's the support team leader type guy, so he doesn't really do anything significant other than he's just kind of a goofy old man, but
who likes wearing extremely mauled football jerseys.
Yeah, fucking weird.
I don't know.
Weird as hell.
But yeah, so let's say like somebody like Mabushina, she's just like, oh, I've heard that there are these mystical, gems that can offer a wish from the very beginning. And it's like, oh, okay, we can get that. The villains kind of hear about it and they're like, all right, well, let's see what this is all about. And then you get Takamichi who's like, oh, well, I'm here to find them, and I already have one of them. Like, let's say he already has one of them. And it's like, oh, that adds some tension. Like, oh, we already have one. Cool. Like something like that, man. Because really, they kind of come... You know what it is? It's the fact that they bring them up only when they think they actually have to. They don't constantly have them as a main thing throughout the story. It's just... Oh, yeah, remember those things? Yeah, they're there.
That's the thing, is, like, they get 3 of them in, like, the span of 8 episodes after they are introduced. And then the show fucking forgets about them until the last 5 episodes, basically. They're just there. Like, there's
like you said, there's no tension, because
there's a one-off,
we already have 3.
There's a one-off reference to them in the Mabushina Gets Drunk episode, where she's just like, where the fuck are the Grantor Stones? Go fucking find the last one already, you piece of shit. Like, which is 1, great episode. 2, hilarious,
Literally
because I was thinking the same thing. Like, just go fucking get off your ass and find this thing already. Because again, there's no tension to find them, because it's not like the villains are looking for them. They just suddenly know about them, like, later, right at the end. It's like, okay, I guess we should steal these things. And
not only that, but like, even if the villains were looking for them, we've already got 3. Even if they get one, we'll just kill them all and take the fucking one.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Pretty much.
It's not like the villains... And here's one of the weirdest things about the show that I noticed. The villains never once just think, let's just go to their house and rob them. Can we just rob them? Like, they never think of doing that either. So it's like,
not even like they don't even have a secret base, because their base is the giant fucking palm tree skyscraper death fortress in the middle of the fucking city. Like,
Mr. Garza, where do we attack?
Yeah,
I
fucking
think that palm tree's kind of sus, fam.
yeah, Yggdrasil
Yggdrasil Tower.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, no wonder I fucking hated the show. It's Gaim.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, fucking Takatora called. He said your secret base needs to be toned down a bit.
I mean, the whole thing, the entire thing lights up like a fucking palm tree. Like, it's like, guys, are you trying to be secret? Are you trying to be like, just, hey, we're here, kill us? I'm not going to lie. I was half expecting them to use that thing as a weapon towards the end. I was like, oh, is that thing going to turn into a fucking Zord or something?
That would have been great. Or like a giant laser gun or something.
Like, oh, there's a reason why it's a palm tree, because it turns into a sword or something. That'd be great. but it's so weird, because, like, and again, it keeps going back to the idea of, like, there was no tension with those stones, but they were also made out to be like these big, powerful MacGuffins that can destroy worlds and bring kingdoms to its knees, and then we just kind of don't do anything with them, and we're just moving on. Yeah. Which is kind of one of the bigger problems. Again, bigger in relations to the show. This is, when I say big problem with this show, think of the most minuscule problem from Ghost. That's the scale I'm working with here. So the bigger problem of the show for me was really a lot of times when we had this big mind-altering, devastating event, and, you know, obviously there's not that many of this, but the characters kind of just be like, that's cool. Whatever's. Like, when Yodon first came in, and he destroyed fucking city, like, miles of city, the next episode, they're just kind of fucking around. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah, they pull...
They don't even mention it!
They do the classic writer thing where, like, we immediately get hyped up for the final, the big final climactic arc, and then we get a Toshiki Inoue episode where it's just complete fucking nonsense, and then the final arc starts for real, and then it's full serious moment. But here it's a little more jarring because, like, there's only 4 episodes left after the goofy comedic episodes. So
right, you think, oh shit, we're just going right into it.
The shift is even more strange.
And that's one of those things that I can never get over with any show, and that doesn't have to still stick with Toku. Just any show, there's this big, altering, like, status quo shifting thing, and then the characters just kind of like walk it off, like, we'll think about it later. And that's kind of the same thing they do with the fucking Gardner Stones, where, like, these things are fucking powerful MacGuffins, and they're just kind of like, just, oh, look, a cat. Like, it kind of feels like that. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because of COVID or that's just because Arakawa just didn't really I shouldn't say didn't understand. He didn't know how to take these things and implement them into a huge arc without it dragging on.
See, I'm going to assume it's more COVID thing because, again, the show did get cut short. We, as expected, we had 1 billion fucking filler clip episodes, so that counts as real episodes because Toei sucks. So it ended up being, cut short. So I think an issue with it was that oh god, that went on longer than that was longer than I was expecting. Jesus. Anyways, I think a lot of it was he kind of had it planned out, but then the show got cut short, so now he kind of has to cram it all together. So, like, Crunchula's face turn, Garza's face turn in death, and him taking over as the main villain, and Yodon's basically entire existence, and all this other shit introduced like right at the end, get kind of crammed near the end, and I'm going to assume it's because he just kind of ran out of time, unfortunately.
Where do you think it got? I shouldn't say got cut, but where do you think it started happening? Because for me, I started seeing COVID-ish, what's it called? I can't remember the C word. Compromises. COVID compromises, as I would like to call them with these shows. I started seeing COVID compromises around the episode where they turn into quote unquote toys, because that seemed very like, let's keep everyone away from each other.
Once it happened, was like episode 10, 11. That's when like it really started kicking off worldwide. And like, that's kind of where you first immediately start seeing, and it's kind of obvious in Silver's debut, where basically everybody is like 12 feet away from each other, or everybody is morphed except for one person. And you know, there's a lot of like really bad cuts where like, oh, we're clearly hiding people off screen to pretend like they're standing next to each other. But they kind of like, there's kind of lessened parts of it later on. And yeah, like there's the episode where, oh, we get turned into toys and we're just screwing around with some kid, you know, in his apartment. And like there's, ooh, shit. There's a little
like
bit like
90% of it is like the kid in a room by himself playing with toys.
Or there's the, and I'm going to bring this up, and it's not really necessarily connected. Like there's the Geki Ranger crossover, which is not a crossover with Geki Ranger at all, because it's just one of the, like, it's fucking Miki and Natsume, the fucking two least important characters in Geki Ranger, showing up for no real reason.
There was like, literally no point in that episode.
No.
Like,
well, no, the point was that fucking Arakawa put in a reference to Geki Ranger in the first episode, and then he had to pay it off at some point, and then, well, fuck it, we're not able to get everybody back, so, quick, play some Geki Ranger clips while the theme song plays, and then we'll get
it's not even the real theme song. It's instrumental, which
exactly
pisses me off even more. And I'm just like, really?
Actually, you know what? I liked that episode because the plot of the episode was them trying to learn how to understand John's retard jungle speak, and they use that against Jotunheim, where it's like, oh, like they're talking and like, you know, they're like waka waka, like niki niki zoa zoa, you know, they're using that kind of shit and like to confuse the villains, and I like that. That was clever, but it was so disappointing because like we first get that reveal like way early on in the pre-production where like we see her with like way when they were first like showing the trailers for the show, we see her see Senna's shirt, it's got the Scratch logo, and I'm like, oh fuck, Arakawa's gonna be a madman again, and he's gonna do a crossover with like 3 other Sentais, and no, we get one, and it's
he would have though.
Oh, he would have. If
this shit didn't happen,
this man put in a fucking Akiba Ranger reference in a space sheriff movie. He's insane. He did.
But see, it's because the thing is, like, I feel like if none of this would have happened, he would have had like maybe Geki Yellow just fucking around in the fucking headquarters.
We would have at the very least got John back at the bare minimum.
I mean, what is he doing? Prince of Tennis.
I mean, fuck. If we were lucky, we probably would have gotten at least the main 3. I know Geki Blue is retired, but I mean, you know, we might have been able to get him.
Get his twin. Oh wait, he's retired too.
That's right. Yes.
God damn it.
But that's man, what a weird coincidence where you and your twin were both in Super Sentai and both of you retired at the same time. Sucks, right?
Man,
it sucks.
You know what?
Maybe his brother retired, so they couldn't use him as a body double anytime they needed to do a reunion.
Oh, that sucks. I mean, so like, then I was going to say, like, the best part about that episode was just that it was ripping off Speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, that's just an Arakawa thing. Just do completely bizarro pop culture references for your episodes, and then that one was it's just Speed. That's the episode. It's Speed, except we're running instead of on a bus.
Honestly, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I thought if anything, Arakawa was gonna be more of a madman and make Miki's daughter a fucking Geki Ranger, just out of fucking nowhere. It's like, oh, nice. She's Geki Pink.
Yeah, she's the new Geki Blue or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that, dude, because I'm just like, I just want to see those suits again, kick some ass, because that would be fucking cool.
Yeah. But yeah,
then,
like,
you know.
Anyways, to get back onto the actual topic here about COVID bullshit.
Yes.
See, it happened very early on, and they kind of, for the most part, deal with it. But then again, there's a lot of like, you know, it kind of came and went in waves where like, okay, it's starting to get better. Okay, never mind. Now it's not. It's starting to get better. No, okay, never mind. Now it's not. And I think that affected production more than it did 01, where 01 got hit pretty hard, pretty much all immediately. But after that initial hit, it kind of just went back to normal, where Kiramager kind of, again, comes in waves, or like there's some episodes where like, okay, you can tell that they're doing this because of precautions, and like it's getting hit here, and okay, they're kind of going back to how it normally was, and now they're kind of reversing it, and
I mean, it was a little argue it's because 01 ended earlier.
I guess that's true.
01 ended I think right before this, like the big second wave hit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so as well.
So they were able to get away with a lot more, because the thing is, like, a lot of like little COVID compromises in the show do peak out. Like it's like you said, some of them are stepping very far away from each other. They're always, and I noticed this a lot, they were filming in a lot of very big, very wide, very open areas, like in forests and stadiums and caves, anything that you can keep everybody away from, and it's very big and you don't have to breathe next to each other. I noticed that a lot, and I'm just like, huh. Not only that, I noticed that they started doing a lot more mech fights too. A lot more and a lot longer. So a lot of those little things you start noticing. But again, I don't know how much of that really affected the story, because, I mean, we're never going to know unless Arakawa just comes and is like, yeah, shit's fucked. Like, we're never going to know how much that really affected it. But I think you can tell, like, some things were rushed to high heavens. Like we said before, like Yoden just coming out of nowhere pretty much.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing, but I can't necessarily blame the show for it.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
I don't think it was Arakawa being like, oh, I can't juggle this, because, you know, he's able to do that. He's done that before in other shows. It's just,
we've seen it.
I think, again, it was an issue of he other situations in real life prevented him from doing it.
I mean, shit, dude, it wasn't even just COVID itself. I mean, shit, one of the fucking actors got COVID. Red, very publicly got COVID, and it fucked up filming for a long time. Kind
of surprising, to be entirely honest, but the fact that he really kind of bounced back pretty quick as well too is you know, it's a shock, to be entirely honest, of how little it affected the show in the long run.
So, I think from that, I mean, that's pretty much everything, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I liked how all of the mechs were kind of like, they had their own personalities for the most part. I mean, none of them really mattered at all, but I like that they did that. That's another thing that they don't, like, I think, like, fucking Goanger was the last show where, like, the mechs were actual characters, and they don't do that very often, and I'm kind of glad that they don't, because it gets a little lame. Especially when you, like, with modern shows where there's like 8 billion mechs, so most of them just like exist.
Kiramager, where all the mechs have personalities, would be a terrible fucking time. Could you imagine that shit, man?
No.
I'd be afraid. I'd be scared.
I would be scared too. And I watched Kiramager.
You did. You fucking what? You fucking madman.
Well, what was I saying? I liked... Again, I liked Jiru's imagination bullshit, and I liked how he's basically a reality warper. His relationship with Mabushina's daughter, her dad, the king. The king was pretty fun. I liked him. He's pretty much a stock Tomokazu Sugita character, and, you know, what a surprise, the character voiced by Tomokazu Sugita has a relationship with the character voiced by Yuichi Nakamura. Wow, who could have seen that coming?
Makes you think.
Yeah, it really makes you think. And I liked the king too. The king was fun. He's basically just Jiru again, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Sugito just playing Jiru, that'd be a fucking wild trip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fuck, that would make Jiru better, because he's Tomokazu Sugita. He automatically gets points for that.
Also, speaking of voice actors, I noticed in this goddamn show, apparently Kiryu just comes up out of nowhere and then dies.
Yeah, he's in the show for one fucking episode as allegedly a main villain.
Allegedly.
Well, that's not quite as bad as Kiramager, where he played the main villain for like the first 4 episodes, and even though they spent the entire time building him up, he's immediately killed off and never mentioned again.
That's an overs.
I'm still mad about that, by the way. I'm still mad.
The big ouchie, bud.
Yeah. And again, honestly, my biggest complaint and the biggest thing that I liked about the show is that it just kind of reminds me of Dekaranger. It really feels like Arakawa is just, he's doing a lot of what he did in Dekaranger again, and not as good, but at the same time, it's still really done well, and that's really kind of like both like the best and worst thing I can say about the show is that it made me want to watch Dekaranger again.
Yeah, I mean, were those your final thoughts, or do you want to go right into them?
No, that wasn't quite my final thoughts. I'm just kind of like saying in general.
I guess we are at a point where we can just say our final thoughts if you would like to.
Yeah, sure. So again, I really enjoyed the show. I kind of knew I was going to enjoy it, but I'm a little disappointed that I waited this long to watch it because it was really fun. But at the same time, he's just kind of I'm fucking brain. A lot of what the show does was done better in other shows. Again, primarily Dekaranger. And while I really liked a lot of what the show brought to the table, it's just not enough of it kind of keeps my attention. I think there's a lot of problems that the show has, but I really enjoyed this as a Sentai. I really enjoyed this as a show. I really would solidly recommend it.
See, going into this, the biggest hurdle this show had was that it was a modern day Sentai. Anybody who listens to the show knows I have no love lost for Sentai. I have been off the Sentai train since fucking Daigo Rangers, and like I meant Kiramager. I legit did not mean to say that. I legit meant to say Kiramager. But I've been off the train since Kiramager, and then I tried to go with Ninja. What a fucking like try again that was for me. And, after that, I just stopped caring. Zoogre passed me by. Loopat nobody saw. All this shit just happened, and I just didn't care. So the biggest hurdle this had for me was the Sentai thing. And I think for what it is, and for what it gave me, I can't say I hated it. There's problems in this show, guys. There's a lot of problems in the show that we mentioned. But I still had fun for the most part. Like, this wouldn't be in my top 5 Sentai, but then again, give me 5 Sentai that are my top, really. So, you know what I mean? So, like, so it's one of those things where I liked it, but it's not something I would say right now I could ever consistently go back to. Like, I wouldn't say right now, oh, I'm going to go back and watch that because I really fucking liked it. I liked a lot of it, but it's not something I don't think I'm going to come back to the show. I don't.
Yeah, maybe at some point I might, but it's in that book of these are good Sentais, but it's probably not like, this is not what I would go to as like a solid immediate recommendation or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what I was going to say too. Like, it's one of those things where I watched it, it's good, but it doesn't need to be seen again. It doesn't have to.
I enjoyed that Arakawa got to write a Sentai again, and a real Sentai this time too, not just Akiba Ranger or like weird space sheriff bullshit. But look, Space Squad was a failed experiment. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh yeah,
and I enjoyed it for the most part, but a lot of what he presents here, he did better elsewhere, and it just reminds me of those shows, and I would rather kind of just be watching those shows.
I can say this much. I mean, you've gotten me hyped for when we eventually do fucking Dekaranger.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of just wish the next Sentai we do is Dekaranger.
Well, who knows?
Well, yeah.
There's only one person who knows, Jay, and that's the fucking wheel.
Yeah.
So let's spin the fucking wheel.
Spin the wheel and
wheel
see.
Of morality. Turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
And
I really hate the noise of this fucking wheel.
Oh, yeah,
it's so annoying. It's like I want to kill it. All right, so next week, Jay.
Oh no.
We are doing Dekaranger, but in English. Fuck you, dude.
I kind of expected that to fucking happen, to be entirely honest.
You did? Because I fucking didn't.
You know what? I had that feeling that was going to happen.
I wanted something different, not fucking Power Rangers again. Here we go again.
Well, you know what? At the very least, I know SPD is good because I watched it when I was like 11. Which does not necessarily mean that it is still good, but I remember
we were this close of doing Dogengers. We were this close, Jay. I don't want to do PP. Whatever, I guess we're doing SPD.
At least SPD is short, and also I don't have to pay attention 100%.
I mean, how long is SPD? Let me see.
A lot of the Disney era shows were like 30 episodes, so let me double check exactly.
That is not what I was looking up. Thank you very much, Google. I look up here. SPD, it gives me symphysis pubis dysfunction.
38 episodes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
A little longer than Overdrive, but still pretty short.
I mean, again, this is going to be just me skipping the opening and the mech fights, because I mean, I know it.
Well,
they don't
now.
give a shit.
Hey, now, don't say you're going to skip the opening until you listen to the opening.
I've already heard it. I mean, I've heard the opening.
I mean, okay.
I remember I've watched SPD. Well, I shouldn't say I watched the whole thing. I watched it when it was airing, like a couple episodes, and I remember liking it.
Fair enough. I mean, still, the opening is pretty baller.
It is, but I mean, that's just Ron Wasserman being Ron Wasserman.
Exactly. Know? I mean, it's kind of hard to not say he does a good song.
Well, yes. But, so I guess you are getting your wish, Jay. We are doing Deca Ranger just in English.
All right.
Look, all I remember of this, all I remember specifically, is that one joke in fucking Akiba Ranger, where Akiba Red was going around. It's like, oh no, not Akiba Red. It's like Deca Red.
Deca
like,
Red.
Oh no,
yeah, Deca Red is like,
I'm not here for me. They just want me because I look like SPD Red.
No, it was him doing a press tour for the SPD Japanese dub, which does exist, by the way, and we will have to talk about it.
Oh my god, dude! Is there a way we can watch that?
I found clips of it. I don't know if I can find the entire show.
Oh, if we can,
but
Jay,
it's funny
because
because they do have the entirety of the Deca Ranger cast doing the voices, and it's basically just Deca Ranger again, twice.
That's so weird.
It's very weird. It was
that's
very
legitimately strange. Like, down to the same voices. Like, that's weird, man. Well, I guess that's it for us for today. Jay, if you actually can find that dub, we gotta watch it. At least one of us has to watch it.
Oh yeah,
one of us has to, because that's gonna be a fucking fun time. Don't expect this one next week because we're all gonna be busy doing shit. Obviously,
yeah,
because we gotta. So I guess we said, I made
it. Wonder, open up the Pirate Bay. I don't know. Fuck it. I'm tired.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.